Yeah, 2014 Tank LIPP freestyle on that blog type. Tank LIPP versus DAYLYT. But we're gonna finish up with all this background on Tank LIPP and just tell you another story of the background about that story. You know I haven't hit you with bars and verbs and syllables for a minute because I've been on all this background type, but it's that story that needs to be told. So like I told you some of the background of my mental illness and physical illness and all that hell I've been through. But let me tell you about hell is a cold day. Like for Tank LIPP, it might have been years, or let me just at least tell you about a cold week in hell. When I was on the psych ward, like, let me go back a little bit. From 2008, and then in the beginning of 2009, all the way up to, the end of 2013, I've been in and out of the hospital, plagued with my illness. And as much as I try to stay keen and observe things that I could do to stay out of that reality where I'm a patient in the hospital, seems like, on this particular occasion where I'm going to tell you the story, like my paranoia broke me down, like I had another breakdown, a nervous breakdown, whatever you want to call it. Like the paranoia was so toxic, like I was out of my mind. Like I went psychotic. Talk about some hell shit. But a lot y'all been through that, so you know where I'm coming from. Like I was trying to be a good patient and take my meds, but they wasn't working, or I was taking the wrong ones, or maybe just something wasn't clicking right. And I already felt like I was battling the world. Like I thought I was in some Illuminati shit. Like I had the Freemasons coming at me, or there was like a hit contract on my life. So in addition to being mentally ill, I'm also trying to stay strong and tough like a tank. Like you gotta be streetwise. So all that was just too much. Like only one tank could be so strong, and I broke down and I got myself Baker acted into the hospital. You don't believe it? I'll fucking give you the name of the hospital. You can look up them records, but I'm not gonna expose that right now. So I'm in there, I'm even losing weight, like something I couldn't do on my own. Like that was a demon I was struggling to battle. I lost like 20 pounds in there, but not because I was really exercising or eating good. I was so paranoid, I was afraid to eat the food. So on top of being so mentally sick, I was starving in the hospital because I didn't know who was my friend or my enemy. I thought the fucking Illuminatis had penetrated that fucking psych ward. Alright? And let's talk about a real cold day, like that day in my hospital room, which by the way, just for some strange coincidence, had to be labeled 101, and it really wasn't even room 101, it was written 101 in there, and it smelled like fucking formaldehyde. And I started having even worse reality problems while I saw skeletons on the wall. Like I thought maybe they had some type of projection screen like up in the room above, and they was doing an experiment on me. And I was like a fucking dead frog or something, like, and I was frozen and just waking up during the middle of the experiment type shit. Like I really thought this stuff. I'm not just saying this for fucking fabrication, This is real shit. And I'm fucking trying to watch my back while all this is going on, and I'm thinking, wow, room 101, what's the significance of that? Like that box I was in, I was so hyper-focused on everything. Like that's how severe the OCD was, that everything I fucking looked at had some loose attached meaning. They talk in mental illness about loose attachments and shit. Like I thought 101 had some significance, like that's the experiment. I'm in life 101 or something, which actually not a bad reference to make, because in the bigger picture of things, I somehow learned a lesson even through my own craziness. But check this. I'm in that hospital room one day, and it literally feels like I'm frozen in ice. Like I'm alive, I could see things, but I got so fucking cold, alright? Like I don't even know what's the explanation. Like maybe someone did poison my meds. Maybe there was a hit contract on me. Maybe my diabetes was so effed up at the moment, like some weird reactions was happening in my body. But the fact of the matter is, there really was this tech on the floor. I'm not going to name his name for confidentiality purposes, But he was even wearing like a striped shirt, looked like a bee, and I'm thinking, is this what Wu-Tang was talking about in the 36 chambers? Like maybe I really am dead. Like I was already having delusions that I wasn't even really alive, that this was all a dream and I'm a dead man. Then I'm frozen in some room like I'm really in ice or something, like in a freezer, but it's my body and it really are objects in the room and it's really a hospital, but I'm like literally being buried alive, like frozen. And then this kid's doing matrix moves, asking me questions about God, like what's the coincidence of that? And he got a B shirt on. Like I'm thinking he's a Wu-Tang Killer B. Is they sent here to help me or save me through my plague and my illness? And it was just some crazy shit. And it's like you on a psych ward trying to get better and you having delusions and reality problems like this, and they trying to get you straight and stabilize you, and you on some other plane, you on some other paper plane reality, thinking you in the middle of some real life Wu-Tang shit, and you not even sure if them killer bees is your friends, they saviors or your foe or your enemies type shit. So he's asking me questions, right? About God, and I'm fucking, I'm listening close. I'm telling him I believe in God. Looks like he's doing some math problems and equations, moving all around like things aren't even there. I can't see them, but apparently he could, and he's moving around like he's taking something out of a treasure chest. I start thinking I'm buried under the ocean, like this is some pirate shit. But somehow I got out of that moment of feeling like I was literally freezing like a choke battle with just the klepto, but this time my fucking brain and my body, and I was staring at the stillness, and I prayed for God to help me through that moment, and God got me through that moment, and I thought, you know what, if I ever get healthy again, it's taken years, and from that fucking hospitalization, it was still a slow recovery, and finally I got to this point where I got tired of the frozenness and the idle time, and I decided to call God up. I called DAYLYT up through these videos, and God answered, because I said to myself, as a gift to myself, through all the suffering I've been through, that if I ever got healthy, how I would dream to do music again. And now I got this venue with DAYLYT, and it's like, I gotta take this ills. I owe it to myself through all my suffering and my mental illness, that if I had ever gotten healthy enough to the point where I could get back out in the community again, I would. And now I'm shooting for the stars, and the fucking stars are shining bright. Like, look at that brightness and daylight that he took on someone at the bottom. So for now, I gotta keep this battle. I can't back out. I feel like it's my duty and my story to be told like this and articulated, first-hand witness like what I went through and these trials and tribulations. I feel like the world needs to see it. It's bigger than rap. It's not just about the hip-hop culture. This is a message to the world that one man's suffering doesn't have to continue, that you don't have to stay in hell, that you can choose light, like I chose DAYLYT. So this is 2014, a freestyle blog type, Tank Lip versus DAYLYT, and now y'all maybe understand the story, and I hit you with some bars in the next video.